Do I even know this man? Is it his face I see when I close my eyes?
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel for another interview, and welcome back to the channel, Tatiana Maslany, for yet another Oz Perkins collaboration, Keeper. Congratulations.
Yep. Thank you. We don't have objects to play with this time.
Well, I have an object.
Oh, you do?
I do have an object. The object came in the mail at the perfect time.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Neon just has a habit of sending me the most lovely gifts in the mail. I will cherish this.
Love stuff.
Given the fact that I just showed that off, this conversation will be a spoiler-filled conversation about Keeper because the movie is out and about. Everyone, if you have not seen it, go out and see the movie and then come back and watch this interview because we've got lots of details to talk about. So you are free and clear to talk about whatever you want.
Nice.
I'll begin with a question about first getting this script from Oz. So this curious, ambitious screenplay comes your way. What is the biggest burning question you had for him about what's actually happening here that you knew you needed an answer to? But then can you also give me an example of the opposite, a particular question that you never got a full answer to, but that wound up serving the performance for the better?
Yeah. What did I have a burning question about? That's a really great question. I remember it being like, I think the original title was Shadowless Horse, but I think that was just like a fake title. And so I was like, what does that mean? Like, and I like remember digging deep into like, what could this possibly mean about this film? And then obviously he changed it. But I don't know if I had lots of questions. And I feel like this film to me was like an experiment in those questions. You know, we shot it very quickly. So it was a lot of like discovering stuff on the day and sort of being open to the sort of more unmoored, untethered sort of feeling of what Liz is going through. You know what, the one question I had for him was like, do you have any music that you're thinking of for Liz? And both of us kind of came up short because it felt like Liz is in a time of her life where there's no music. I think she loved music at one point, and there's no music anymore.
Oh, that's so sad. But
I know, and
it's so appropriate.
Like, I literally don't have tunes for this lady, and I usually do.
Ooh. All right, I'll dig into maybe some backstory from there. And I don't know if you did backstory work for Liz, but if you did, is there anything that you came up with that maybe we don't see or hear about directly in the film, but it just became important for you to hold tight to that information and now we can feel it informing your performance?
Yeah, I mean, I think she was a lot. She had a more of a thick life before Malcolm. I think she's a little bit absent in her own life. You know, when you're in those relationships where you're like, I'm here, but you're not your full self, and you've sort of like cut off your friends, or you've cut off like the things that you like to do, and you're sort of like going along with this kind of thing that you think you should want, because on paper it looks really good, or on paper it makes sense, or it's like a good decision. You know, it's like a different choice for you. I think we're seeing Liz when she's already there, when she's already at that point where she's like kind of sleepwalking through her life.
The combination of that and also her being musicless is so sad.
Not great. Great.
So here's a question I had jotted down, and the answer to this might be no, but it was something that crossed my mind. When you're working on a story like this and playing a character like Liz, how much are you thinking about the fact that, in a sense, the audience is kind of in on more than she is? That right out the gate, we are aware of the fact that like something's up with Malcolm.
Yeah, I think that exactly is what it is. I think Liz at her core knows something is up from the start, but has so kind of, and you can hear it with her friend, you know, she's sort of like pretending things are okay, and sort of like I think a lot of this film is about like the denial of the things we know about that we know to be true that we're sort of ignoring. Our gut instincts about things, whether that's like, oh, this cabin is so beautiful, and yet I don't feel comfortable here. This, like, by all accounts, this relationship should be great, but I don't feel myself here. I think that's one of the lines is like, I don't feel myself here. I have to leave. And that, I think, is like the cry that she has in her guts, but is ignoring for myriad various reasons.
That cabin is something else. That is
I know.
one heck of a filming location.
Yeah, gorgeous,
The
right?
fact that that exists.
Mhm.
Two hyper-specific details about Liz that I wanted to ask about. Can you tell me anything about her tattoos and also the ring that she wears? Because that kept catching my eye all throughout the film.
Don't remember this ring. What was the ring?
It's just like it's a fairly large like blue stone. There's just something
yeah.
that I kept noticing.
That's Micah Cade, who is our costume designer, who designed the monkey, and she's like unbelievable. I really like felt like I got a sense of Liz and I felt the same way when we met up for Lois and the monkey. I was like, oh, I know who this is now, because Micah has sent me, or Micah's put these clothes on me, and now suddenly I'm standing differently, or I can feel her body differently. So that ring, I know that at the time when we put that ring on, and this was like a couple of years ago now that we shot it, that it was like, oh yeah, like a little bit of armor, a little bit of a move, some like little bit of life that she has, and I remember also there's the dinner shirt that's kind of like a little floral, sort of strange, like vintage piece. And when Micah gave me that, I was like, oh yeah, totally. I'm like dressed up for dinner. This is Liz's dressed up for dinner.
Oh, I see that. That is what the ring kind of felt like to me. It was almost like felt like a little bit of a security blanket kind of thing. Like something about it felt strong, and like that was a pop of personality that I would get to. What about the tattoos? Was there any deliberate choosing of the tattoos and where they went?
Yeah, we were like, the feeling again is like there's a whole life to Liz that is like kind of been covered up, and it gets covered up with this, beige cardigan, or this, whatever, this artifice of like, I'm in a couple and I'm the lady in the couple. But yeah, Maddie and I, who did hair and makeup, we just like had fun with the idea of like all of this like rock and roll life that she's lived before this, or this past that we could infer from, you see that many tattoos on somebody and you're like, oh, there's a story behind all of that. One of the tattoos is my own. One of the tattoos is my little baby that my husband drew and I've got on my arm, my little strong baby. And I think the rest were covered, but yeah.
I kept noticing like the flock of birds right here. And like that in particular, I think spoke exactly to what you just said, that she had this whole life before, was probably a little freer than the version of her I'm seeing in the movie. And
yeah,
just kept zeroing in on that.
Yeah.
Here, I'll throw in one of my sillier, big burning questions for you now, because I can't see a chocolate cake in a movie like this and not wonder, like, was it any good? Is it fun to shoot scenes with that cake?
I was like, Oz, I can only do a couple takes of this. He's like, you're going to do 15 takes of this. I was like, great. I was high as a kite. The cake was so good. It was so good. It was so good. It was so rich. It was so good. It was like a local baker.
It looks like a Matilda cake.
I've never seen that movie. Is it a poop cake too?
No, there's like a whole scene where like one kid has to eat like this gigantic chocolate cake, and the cake just looks so good all the time. But I highly recommend the original Matilda movie and also the musical that Netflix released. That's real good.
Oh yeah. Okay, great.
That cake looked like something else. Another like more serious cake specific question. Did Oz ever tell you what exactly is in the cake later on in the movie when she's actually like using her hands to eat it and sees something in it that shouldn't be?
Yeah, he was like, there's poop in that cake. There's bones in that cake. There's fingers in that cake.
Mm-hmm.
There's worms in that cake. He said all of it, that he's like, and rolling.
What does
Go.
it say about me that the cake still looked really
I know
good?
it looks great. I think, I'm sure if I watch it, I'm going to be like, I want cake now.
Yeah, I mean, I did have that feeling. Here's one of the most spoilery questions I could ask you, but can you tell me a little bit about playing two characters in this film and also figuring out the right moments for, I guess, the line between them to blur or for one to inform the other?
So I'm not Baghead until the very, very end. So there are multiple people who are playing Baghead. And in fact, one of my best friends since I was 7 years old, Tess, who is also in The Monkey, plays the realtor in The Monkey. She's one of the Bagheads.
Wait. Backtrack. When you say baghead, what specifically do you mean? You mean like, for instance, when the lady is at the table with the bag on her head.
Yes,
I'm also referring to like way back when, like the woman.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, okay.
I didn't even realize baghead was part of the equation too. So you play three roles.
Well, because at the end, the reveal is, right, that it's like multi-faces.
Yes.
It's all my face. And that was me, actually. That was me plus the most amazing visual effects. Like, just, anyway, we'll talk about that one later. But, the lady.
What, does she have a name?
No, she doesn't. Or maybe she does. I don't think so, though. That woman sort of came about, I think, a little bit more in our reshoots that we did. So yeah, like her lore kind of built out in those reshoots. Yeah, because she was like kind of, I think, more vague initially. We didn't have that like kind of like the story was there, obviously, what his legacy of what he does to these women, but we never saw her until we did the reshoots.
That is fascinating to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I love demystifying reshoots, because I feel like in this business, we've given reshoots a negative connotation when in fact they're there for a reason. And usually they're there to enhance a movie and explore creative avenues that you couldn't during principal photography. And that sounds like a prime example of using them to the movie's benefit.
Yeah, I mean, our budget was so very tiny when I signed on to this movie. It was like a very small, I think it was 500K Canadian, like very small. For very small considering, but then obviously like Neon comes on and buys the film, and then they help it to get built in a bigger way, kind of. Yeah.
Neon knows what they're doing in that respect. That's the second example of that I've seen in 2025, and I appreciate it. All right, focusing on specific scenes now. The first one on my list, I love this performance beat. It's when Malcolm tells her that he's leaving her at the house alone to go to the hospital. And she's saying like, I'm fine, it's good. But we see that one tear stream down your face. What was it like pinpointing the right reaction for her to have and like the right level of emotion for her to have in that moment?
We shot that scene. So that scene, what was so fun about that scene specifically was that when we started blocking it, before we were blocking, I had just sort of flopped down on the couch like that. And Oz was like, great, don't move. And then we played with this idea of the cake having sort of paralyzed her body, that she couldn't leave. She couldn't even fight him to go. So she's sort of like, and there's this thing that happens with the cake where because Liz ate the whole thing, there's a mix in her body. This is all what we're just playing with inside of the scene of ecstatic mushroom feeling, joy, whatever, body sensation, and also like the consciousness of something is not right. And so there's this part, the feeling I had in that moment was sometimes like, see you later, bro. Like totally fine. And then sometimes it was like, oh, he's leaving me to die. This sort of knowing that she has because of her connection to these little witchlings in the walls and stuff like that. Which was just a really fun, big question mark to play around with. And I don't know that like the scene lands in like, this is what it is. But just like that you, again, it's like that thing of like knowing something about your partner that you can't pinpoint. And so the ways you're like, yeah, that's totally good, but you're like literally like crying, or you're literally like laying in a puddle. Like, yeah.
Like the thought of her like feeling paralyzed, but that tear like being some sort of like screaming out.
Yeah.
Out when I watch it. The next scene on my list is the two Minkas scene. I just want to know the movie magic that goes into that, because when it cut to that shot and there were two of them and one was a little smaller, I'm like, what the fuck is happening? But I love it.
Did you see that her arms were really long too? It was so scary when I saw that. I was very freaked out. But that moment, yeah, I just remember Oz being like, there'll be one Minka here and a littler one here. And I was like, that sounds so fucked up, and I can't wait to see how that turns out.
I love how that's conveyed to you like that. And it's just like, you just keep going down this path and you'll see what it looks like in the finished product.
Totally. Whatever, dude. I trust you.
I don't know if he gave you specific answers to these types of questions, but in that moment, she tells Liz, the children think you are their mother.
Mm-hmm.
So would you describe it as, I guess, like Liz's ancestor literally being their mother? Like, is there an actual direct connection between those two characters? Or is it maybe a reincarnation type thing?
I think it's I don't know. I'm curious, like how people read that moment. Mm-hmm. To me, it's the echoes of a pattern of relationships. And it's the ways that we can just fall into some pattern of behavior, a role that we have to play, that we're sort of like essentially doomed to play, which is like these children have decided, because she looks like that woman, that they're going to keep her. I don't know. It's like, there's so many things, so many ways to interpret it. And I'm really curious about how people read it,
Even you just saying that the children look at it as a situation where they're going to keep her, it also could be the title can be interpreted in the opposite way, where it's, it's how Malcolm uses the term keeper or his cousin.
Yeah. And also just like the idea of a keeper as this like woman who just like belongs because she fits something. She fits some archetype. It's not to this, it's not to that. She's the one that you stick around with. It's such a like brutal, it's like when guys are like, I think women are smarter than men. You're like, shut the fuck up. But like this sort of this ideal of the woman you settle down with, that you don't discard, is ugly. Yeah.
I feel like I should save this question till the end, but like now it's popping in my mind and it's not going to go away. Given all of this, do you interpret her ending as a happy ending?
No, I don't really. I mean, again, I'm curious what people think, but there's joy in the fact that he gets some kind of comeuppance, that he gets, made into the little honey head.
The honey head.
Yeah, exactly. For all who watch this movie to enjoy. But that his legacy is broken, that he can no longer, suck the life force out of younger women to feel young again. Just such a fun kind of little metaphor or whatever. But no, I think Liz is she's found her place, but her place is the thing that was like decided for her. She doesn't want to be a mama.
It also feels like it's almost reminding me of the way you described her earlier as being paralyzed. Like when I see her in the end, like it almost feels like one of those kinds of situations where like someone's in the back seat of the car that somebody else is in control of and is driving.
Yeah. Someone described it as her eyes have gone. Her eyes are gone. And it's like, oh yeah, totally. Like she's gone.
My heart for her in this situation. Jesus. All right, I gotta let you go in a minute, but I do want to make sure to touch on the movie magic in that basement scene, because that scene is like, it's something else. I want to hear about all the work that went into ultimately making it happen, but that is another thing that I'm really curious. When you first read that on the page, what did you picture, and how does that compare to what it wound up being?
It wasn't that at all. I mean, I think again that was like a construction, a sort of big conversation with a lot of people afterwards in building, and the effects team really built that creature. And I was so excited when I saw it because I didn't see it till I watched a screening of it. P.S. Schwetter.
Oh, that's so cool. I had my notes blocking it. Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, there's something about that like doubling, tripling, quadrupling, where the like creature is trying to emulate her, is trying to echo her. There's all these echoes throughout the whole film where people take on each other's voices, you know, as if playing the role of someone else, or as if like, yeah. And so there's something about that like creature that's, and I, again, like when I saw it, I was so excited and I just wanted to like figure out what that character meant to me, like what that image means to me in terms of the film. And I don't know that I've like settled on it yet. But there's something about like it's like the roles you like try to conform to be in, the way that you sort of try to shape yourself into the semblance of the thing that you're supposed to be. Yeah, I don't know.
Your description of that and also how you interpret the ending is also making me think of this particular moment when you're in the basement and they're all kind of like coming to you. There's this really great mixture of like terrified screaming, but also like elated laughter.
Yeah.
What was it like figuring out that moment needed both of those things?
Well, I think Oz said like, he was something about like you're terrified but you're home, and so it's like this is where you belong. Just like, sure, maybe she does belong covered in little witchies.
Oh, little witchies, I love them.
I do too. I love that there's
those designs were something else too. When they start like creepy crawling out from the darkness, I'm like, I don't fully understand what's going on there, but I love every ounce of that design.
One of them's just like smoking. One of them just has smoke.
The one that crawls down the stairs.
Puking. Oh my God. For little babies. It's tough. It's hard to be a baby.
Oh, it is.
The movie's really trying to just tell you that it's so tough to be a baby.
It's tough to be a baby. It's tough to be a woman. It's tough. Feels like life is hard. Life is hard.
That's the thing we wanted to finally drive home to everybody, is that life is hard, you guys. And we need to be reminded of this because life isn't hard enough.
Life is hard. Thankfully, I have bonkers movies like Keeper to try to process all of like the weird that's happening in the day-to-day right now.
Yeah.
Huge congratulations on yet another collaboration with Oz. Keep working together. You two keep me on my toes. I like it.